we have the current stock market update for Palantir Technologies Incorporated, stock ticker PLTR. Before we begin with today's chart analysis, if you find these educational materials to be helpful in your trading, please remember to click the like and subscribe buttons and leave your thoughts below in the comments section so that other traders will be able to find this information more easily on the platform. So here we're going to be looking at the 4-hour price chart, get a bit of a broader view here, sort of an intermediate time frame. Each candle on this chart will represent a 4-hour trading period. And in the prior video, what we were pointing out was the formation of an evening star pattern on this time frame. So what we can see here is that we've got a strong period of bullish trading activity, followed by a period of indecision, followed by a period of bearish activity that's roughly equal in length to the bullish period that preceded it. So this is sort of a three candle reversal pattern to the downside. But what you really do need to see in order to confirm this pattern and to sort of trigger that pattern would be a break below that prior low. So currently what we're looking at here is a price low on this candle that shows at $36.43. And roughly what we've seen in the periods that have followed is roughly, a sideways sort of support zone that has developed right in this area. So I wouldn't really say yet that we've had a convincing break below here just yet. And then in addition to that, we have to contend with the fact that there is this rising yellow line here, which is the 20-period exponential moving average, which is coming right into contact with this zone. So as things currently stand, it's possible that this pattern will not actually be triggered. We could start to see a bounce here. However, the balance of the evidence, I would probably suggest that we will see a breakthrough, some short-term support here, and we will in a moment look at some of the shorter-term timeframes to sort of look at what exactly is going on the shorter term charts. But first, I just want to look at the indicator readings on these intermediate timeframes here, because what we're seeing overall is a trend momentum direction that is moderately bearish. Currently, we can see some lower highs on this relative strength index reading, and this is a bit of an ominous signal because the share price itself was posting new highs as this indicator reading was failing to post new highs. So essentially, what you have here is a series of lower highs on this relative strength index reading, but you have higher highs on the price chart itself. So when you combine those two factors together, that creates a bearish divergence on this time frame. And this is definitely a bearish signal. So not totally surprising here to see that we are encountering some downside price movement here, enough to bring that relative strength index reading back out of overbought territory. And the next major sort of movement to watch here would be to see whether or not this downside momentum is strong enough to break through this shorter term bullish momentum that is trying to develop at the moment. One reason that I do think this probably would happen would be due to the fact that this is a very strong slope in this trend line here that we're seeing. So this does suggest that the relative strength index will have an easier time breaking through this level. When you see more stable, kind of closer to being sideways type trend lines like this, they tend to be much harder to break. And movements like this tend to be more unsustainable. So the real question here, it has not happened yet, so we can't say that it will happen, but would be to see whether or not there is a break to the downside in this relative strength index reading, because if that were to occur, we would then lose this near-term bullish momentum, and then this longer-term bearish momentum would continue to prevail. So with all that said, we'll sort of look into the shorter-term timeframes here quickly, just to close out the video here. Just so that we can see, what exactly is going on these lower time frames. So as I said previously, we're starting to develop an area of roughly sideways support that is coming in right around, so it'd be roughly 36.40. And then again here, what we're seeing is some exponential moving average support coming into this area as well. So what you're seeing really here is a double bottom price zone with a rising exponential moving average that is adding some support to the equation. So if we don't really see a break below this area, then that evening star pattern still remains intact, and you could still start to see share prices move higher. But if we do see a downside break of this double bottom support zone, then we would start to expect to see momentum accelerate to the downside on the shorter term timeframes. Quickly, we'll just sort of look at the indicator reading on these shorter term timeframes to get a sense of what really is going on. And as we can see here, there is still some evidence of bearish, trading momentum that is starting to develop during multiple stretches of time here. So overall, there really isn't much positive that can be found. This is a 15-minute reading on the price chart. So when you're looking at a very small trend momentum movement, such as this one here, on these lower time frames, they tend, it's there. It's not a negative reading, but it does tend to be much less significant because you're dealing with a very short term formation on a very short term time frame. So overall, the broader condition here does remain in the negative direction. So overall, I mean, if we just combine this with the fact that these prior rallies really were not being based on much. The inclusion for Palantir into the S&P 500 was known information. I mean, this was expected for a long period of time. I mean, well before it actually happened or before any announcements were made or anything like that. It was broadly expected that Palantir would be expected to be included in the S&P 500, which it should be. I mean, it's a great company. There's no reason it shouldn't be in the S&P 500. American Airlines was removed. I mean, these airline businesses, they're just constantly getting bailouts and things like that. I mean, I'm not a fan of the airlines. Don't like flying either, to be honest. But overall, really, really not surprising. I mean, I personally feel that Palantir is a more important company, and that they should be included in the S&P. So it was definitely a good move, and it was an appropriate move. But the question is whether or not this was already priced in. I mean, should we really be seeing this type of upward activity? I've seen a lot of people that are calling for $50 per share, $100 per share based on this information. In my view, what needs to happen is that the forward PE metric really needs to sort of catch up to itself here. And these movements in the upward direction that aren't based on changes in quarterly earnings reports are only making that forward PE metric worse. It's really not making that situation any better, which is making this stock very difficult to invest in. If you're a longer term investor, I don't really see anything wrong with holding on to it, but you're probably going to have to be holding on to the stock for quite a long period of time. And I also definitely do not recommend buying at these upper levels like this. I mean, I do think that we're going to be seeing some retracements here that should provide some better opportunities to go long the stock. So here's the current stock market update for Palantir Technologies Incorporated, stock ticker PLTR. Our high value trading strategies membership is currently available for a limited time for only $9.99 per month. These high conviction investment strategies are characterized by superior risk to reward metrics that target massive market beating returns over time. Join now to outperform the market, lock in this special introductory rate of just $9.99 per month for the entire lifetime of your membership, and start trading stocks with the pros.